Here's the old alternator versus the new one. I've compared everything. It looks like it's going to fit, but if you look at these, there's immediately difference. But I'm going to try to get it in place. I believe everything's... This vehicle that it's going on is 20 years old, and this is a brand new alternator. And it fits many other vehicles, so the design may be different. And that makes sense, because if there were certain things about the old one that needed improvement, maybe there's some improvements here on this new one. So the first thing I want to look for when comparing them, when we have something like this where they're vastly different, is to check the pulleys. I put the pulleys side by side. They're lining up. They're the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grooves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grooves. They're about the same width. I could measure it. I don't have a tape measure here. Then you want to look at your bolt pattern. The bolt pattern on both of them look about the same, but if you're up close, like this dips down a little more, which isn't going to interfere with anything on the truck here that I'm working on. So I'm not concerned with that. My biggest concern is, are these the right length apart? And then we put it on the side. Let's flip this one over like that so you can see this and this mounting bracket. So if you see the bottom of both of these, we want to compare these to make sure they're that the width of them is going to fit into the mounting bracket, these bolt holes. So if you look there, those are the right width or depth. But one of my biggest concerns that I wanted to touch on mainly here is the rear of this. So if you look at the back of it, this is the new one here, and here's our old one. Let me position it like this. Alright, can you see the differences here? So for instance, that's the terminal, there's the connector, or where the terminal that the connector connects to. And then if you look over here, there's the terminal, but the connection is here. So it's facing a completely different angle. So it like flipped a 90-degree angle, I guess. So this is pointing up, while this one is pointing to the back of the alternator. Can you see that? So it's sort of worrisome, but until I get it on here, I won't know. As I said earlier, this one, you can actually buy the regulator and unbolt it here and replace it. This one is just, there's a plastic cover over the top of it. This piece is pretty much has no function, and it looks like the regulator is on the inside. This looks like a heat sink. This kind of stuff doesn't matter. The main thing that you're going to want to look for is that it's going to fit. And in something like this, it could throw you off. There is a little bit of concern here with the connections being different, because you may not have enough slack to get to the connection. But you could grab your connection and plug it in before you even mount it to see if it's going to connect there. And if it does, then it's just in a different position. As long as it all fits back together, that's what we're looking for. So these differences, like I said, this normally, this vehicle's 20 years old, so the parts are going to change, and you have different manufacturers. And as I said, these alternators fit on a multitude of trucks and cars by GM and maybe other manufacturers. So the next step is to mount it, make sure it fits, put it back together, start it up, and make sure we're good.